All right, welcome back to Bayou Time. We got a lot to talk about. We're with the Vice Council Chair for Terrebonne Parish and Vice Chairman of the Council right now, John Amade. He's District 4, and God, got a lot happening in the parish, elections, and
It's been busy, Martin.
Yeah.
And again, I want to thank you for giving us an opportunity to come and share what we're doing in the parish. But even though I went without opposition, it's been a busy election season for myself as well. Just, trying to make all the events, help the people understand, who's running, what they're running on, how to decipher, how to come up with a good selection for who they're voting for. Of course, the pressure was off, so we were able to do those things, and looking forward to this Saturday.
well, you got a parish president's race. All accounts, both of them been working hard. You got on the council level, you've got 4 of you guys going to be having experience. You're going to have 5 that are coming in that need to know the ropes. So y'all not only going to be handling your own district, I sort of see y'all as mentoring a lot of the new people coming in. Depending on what happens with the parish president's race, you could have a brand new person, outside of government coming in, or you could have someone that has some experience that would sort of know the ropes. So it just depends on what the people decide there. Nonetheless, I think you and Danny and Carly and Steve, y'all going to be busy.
We will. And,
And depending on what happens with Brian, he's been on a little while.
right,
So,
Ron's been
yeah.
on for the past year, roughly. And, it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, a lot of procedural things they have to pick up on. We'll be able to help them with some of the prior stuff that we've dealt with that may be coming up before us. Of course, with a new parish president, there's going to be a new goal of what they're looking to do and how we're going to be able to help them accomplish their goals as well, because, we're all working for the betterment of Terrebonne Parish.
Yeah. And just to talk about that a little bit, we've seen it. God, I've been covering this since '85. So I've seen the different factions that get together that believe the same way. And, it's not always a 9-0 vote. Occasionally you'll have a 9-0, but that's rare.
Yeah, and we all come in with some different ideas of how we think things should be. And when I came in, I remember I had experience in that my wife being in elected office before I had an understanding of how things go. And people a lot of times think that, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to affect change on day one. And when they walk in, they get the reality of, hey, wait, there's a whole process that we have to follow in order to do it. And you have to build a coalition. And looking at the people that are currently elected and those that could be elected, I don't think we're going to have much problem with that. I think that we're going to all have a heart to see that Terrebonne Parish moves forward. And I think that in this session, you'll probably see more 9-0 votes.
It could be done with friction or it could be done with butter,
Yeah, absolutely. And, the tendency, which you see out in Washington, it's us against them. And really, on a local level, we all live close enough to one another that we know pretty much one another. At least we know the community that we're coming from, and we're able to sit down and discuss what issues are going to be coming before us and the actions that we want to take. So we can have a conversation across the coffee table and get things done. So that way, when we come into the meetings, it's just going to be a procedural thing. And it's not that, we're going to be doing any backroom deals like everybody says, but because we're local, because we all live in the same community, we have contact with each other on a daily basis. I think that it's going to be a good term.
Yeah, I always say, what's wrong with a backdoor deal as long as it's legal?
Well, the thing I tell people all the time, Martin, it's like we have to have meetings outside of the council meetings in order to get things accomplished so that we can, if we come on the council meetings and we start debating, we're going to be there all night
Yeah, as long as you
debating
don't
our
have a
issue.
quorum, you're good, yeah.
Yeah, so, we'll pick up the phone, call one another, hey, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Or we'll go have a cup of coffee somewhere, eat some beignets or something and,
Well, that's
and discuss
politics,
it.
and you got to do that, no doubt. But y'all come in. I'll say this about this council with the the 4 that have been on before in Braun, that would be 5. Y'all have done a tremendous job of helping the parish president build projects that are unparalleled. This has just been one hell of a ride.
It has been, and if you really look back, majority of the votes when it came to the projects that the parish president wanted to do, we saw that they were necessary, and we got behind them, and we got those passed through. Some of the 5-4 votes had to do with elections and personal things between the council members, so mostly just with the elections of officers every year. There were a couple of little differences, but for the most part, we see what needs to be done, and even though I represent Schriever, I know that levees are an important part, and I'm going to vote for those because we don't want Schriever to be waterfront property. So we have to look at the whole.
You're losing two in Jessica and Dirk that bring a lot of experience, but they're off trying to get a state position. So there you go.
And I admire them for taking that step because it's a whole different level when you get up to that. And I think they're both experiencing some of that right now.
Your wife knows.
Just in the elections. Absolutely.
She was unopposed too. Let's do this, John. We'll take a short break. We'll come right back. We're going to talk a little local policy here with the meeting coming up. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health Systems, modern technology, and timeless caring. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights. South Louisiana Bank, it's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. Alford and Associates, for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality. All right, we are back. We're with John Amadei. He is the vice chair of Terrebonne Parish Council, District 4. We appreciate him being here. Meeting dates, that's pretty easy. Y'all going to set the dates, they can be done. People look at them and go from there. But y'all are extending an executive order for permit fees. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. So we're still dealing with Hurricane Ida damages. And one of the things that the parish president pushed through with an executive order is you still have to get a permit to do the work, which is important because your insurance company is going to look at that, make sure that you were permitted to do that work was inspected by a parish official, and it was cleared to be done and approved. But the fees is what we're extending this emergency order. So the fees have been suspended. So go get your permits. They don't cost you anything. Commercial and residential. Usually the residential are already free right now, but the commercial ones especially. So if you have Hurricane Ida damage, you're still trying to get something done, be sure to go get those permits. It's not going to cost you anything.
All right, recreational vehicles, as far as temporary housing, y'all addressing that too?
So that's another thing too. 2 years out, we still have a lot of people that are displaced that are still living in the travel trailers and such. So in order to, normally in the subdivision codes, you can't live in those things. Well, because of the extent of the storm and the fact that there are still a lot of people that are displaced, we're going to extend that executive order as well that the parish president has made, so that way people can still have a place to live while they're doing the repairs on their house. And unfortunately, a lot of people are still waiting on insurance monies and things like that to come through for them to be able to start their projects.
They said it would take 5 years after Ida, but it wasn't 5 years because of Terrebonne Parish. It was 5 years because of insurance and other entities.
Absolutely. I mean, the parish has done well. When I look at other areas and the amount of time that it's taken them to recover, I think we had a good plan in place and we were effective in getting it done, and we've gotten a lot of things back in operation a lot sooner than expected. But the insurance companies, FEMA, they still, I mean, you just come in our government towers, we still have walls that are not sheetrocked it as well.
Takes time. How about codifying the redistricting? That's a big issue.
Yeah, so Martin, back in January, we did our redistricting, and in doing redistricting, it changed voting precincts. So we voted on those back in January, and now we're codifying them. We're putting in the charter, and then we're going to also be doing a couple mergers and changes around now that we've got a couple elections under our belt. We see what's working, what's not so good, just to make it more convenient for the voters to come out and vote.
Does that make, is that a hard thing to tackle when you're doing that redistricting?
You know, Martin, thankfully, because of South Central Planning, is not as hard for us because they do all the data crunching. So they collect all the information. We of course enter into a contract with them, and then they present us several options. All we have to do is take a look at the options and see what's going to work best for the community. One of the things that I really wanted to see done this time that we're able to get done is that the council districts and the school districts are the same. So if you're in District 4, you're going to talk to District 4 councilman, you're going to talk to District 4 school board representative.
Amen.
Yeah, so that it cuts out a lot of confusion.
Yeah, it does it, for sure, no doubt. All right, the disaster recovery services contracts. I know a lot of people would think that y'all should wait till the disaster, then go sign the contract. It doesn't work like that.
No, we have to be prepared. I mean, it's a given, Martin, that every so many years we're going to have some storm pass through that's going to do a little bit of damage. So what we try to do is we try to have those services already set. It doesn't mean that we're going to go out and write them a check. We just have them locked in so that should we need them, then we can call upon them and they're already all the paperwork signed. Because, you know, sometimes, Martin, in contracting especially, if a project goes out for bid, from the bid date, you got 30 days to get that contract signed. Then you have to start getting materials and such for the jobs. With a storm or any type of natural disaster, we can't wait that long.
Right.
So by doing this, we're set to go.
No,
Storm happens today, tomorrow we can start calling people in to come help us.
Yeah, we all know that's smart, especially in storm season. The 2000 year fire truck from the Houma Fire Department, y'all replacing it.
It's a 75-foot ladder truck with a pump on it. And, you know, sometimes people will say, well, what do you need a truck that big for? Well, we have a lot of buildings out here. Just because the high rise is not repopulated, we still have the hospital, the government towers, Whitney Bank building. There's another one I can't think of at the moment, but yeah, shop area.
You got the atrium.
You got the atrium, absolutely. So if our fire department get caught out for a fire like that, they have to have good stuff. And, you know, 2000, it's still limping along, but it's good to get the guys something that they can depend on.
Yeah, of course the atrium might be in, is that Bayou Cane?
Probably so, but,
Yeah,
you know,
but you can help.
Martin, they call out
help.
for help.
Yeah.
They
help,
absolutely
no doubt.
do.
And plus some of these buildings, like the building we're in right now, it's a long building.
So you
got to get over it sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So it helps with getting the water where it needs to be.
All right, so what about a minute left? Reviewing the budget too.
We are still reviewing the budget. We're going to vote on that in December, but right now we're still going through the different departments and we're looking to see if there's any significant changes. If there are significant changes, why? We're looking to see what they plan to do next year with the monies that they have, if they're looking for new equipment or something. And of course, we have that option that if we think they need something, we can also, in this process, recommend that be added into the budget.
And just real quick, you're looking at East Side Public Safety too?
Yeah, so we have a resolution coming for the substantial completion on the building. And I know HPD has been waiting for this. John Navy, former councilman, pushed for this for years. He was on the council for 12 years, and it's finally getting done.
All right, the business of the parish. Mr. John Amity, thank you always. We appreciate your transparency.
Always happy to be here.
All right, and we'll be seeing you all around with a new council.
Absolutely.
All right, John, thank you. There you have it, John Amity. We'll take a short break. We have a lot more here on Bayou Time, so don't go away.